friends. Let me first thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to speak on this subject, cultural and educational rights, as emphasized in Article 29 and 30 of the Constitution of India. In fact, it is to do something with one's right of preserving and practicing their culture, their language, because India is a land of diversity. We have hundreds of communities here, hundreds of languages, hundreds of castes. You have a number of religions. You have different states here, a heterogeneous society. And not only that, India has been a land of visitors even from foreign countries. Jews came to this country. They have established their synagogues here in Bombay and Kerala. At the same time, Parsis have come to this country. And Zoroastrians, they came to this land, they were given shelter here. And today we find that even those races who came from other parts of the world to our country, they were given shelter, they were given as, not only as refugees, they got assimilated into the main stream of our Indian nation. And that is the greatness of a country, to respect, to absorb everything that comes into its fold. And I think while the constitution is being drafted, this inherent quality of the Indianness was taken into consideration, and Article 29 and 30 both came into existence to preserve the rights of the rights, the culture and languages and other practices of those diversified groups, religions, or the tribes. And therefore, this Article 29 and 30 had come into existence. As rightly put forward by the earlier speaker, Mr. Shaukat Mirza, that Indian Constitution doesn't use the term or define minorities. But the sense of Article 29 and 30 is a special rights to those who are other than the main majority of the religions. But at the same time, one has to see that the preserving of the culture, preserving of the language is very important. In fact, the new education policy also stresses on the use of mother tongue in till elementary school. Even the right to education also speaks of the use of mother tongue up to some level of schooling. And we have seen that Article 29, wherein the madrasas also come under that. Their language, their religion, though it is taught here, there was a question that whether these madrasas can teach computer science, computers. I think the education doesn't stop at someone's religion, someone's culture, but it is beyond it. As rightly put forward by Shri Mirza Sahab, that our students, our children need to get education in a growing scientific world. We need education on engineering, we need education on medicine. So therefore, we should see the right of the minorities as far as education and culture rights are there beyond Article 29. We see that now we are a globalized nation, a globalized world. The world is shrinking. We see of a global village where there are a lot of opportunities for different education backgrounds, and Indians are wanted elsewhere in the world as far as their technical expertise are concerned or educational background are concerned. In this background, I think it is not only the madrasas or religion and cultural education to the minorities, but it is beyond that that is also required. So therefore, when we see the holistic approach of the Constitution to this issue, I think this becomes a draft provision there, because now we have minority education institutions, and in many cases, especially in Kerala, where Sharda Devi case versus Kerala, and then minority education versus state of Kerala, the courts have all held that the minority educational institutions are not only for the minorities, but they should also give education and admissions to other community also, other castes also, whether it is linguistic or religious minorities. So therefore, a question arises: the minority, how far the minority educational institutions are catering to the need of the education to the minority sections, whether it is Muslim, Christians or linguistic minorities. But when we see into it, because I happened to attend one program where several minority students were blaming the minority education institution in Hyderabad that their poor children are not able to get admissions in these minority education institutions because they are catering education only to the wealthy people. So therefore this question is that whether the minority education institutions are meant only for spending and making money. So therefore these are the things which has to be taken into consideration. So therefore I think India is a country which respects all religion, all culture, all languages, and that is the greatness of this country. And definitely Article 29 and 30 has to be respected. It is a different matter that when politics creeps in, several issues come up, but it is the duty and fundamental duty of the government that may be in power, and also the people that respect each other's religion, each other's culture, and they should have a right to preserve their culture and languages. Today, we have nomadic tribes in our country. Nomadic tribes have their own languages. The language, Konkan language, had no script till recently, but there are many who speak Konkan language, and the Konkan language came into existence, which is needed to be preserved. We have certain tribes in Orissa and Madhya Pradesh whose culture has to be preserved. So therefore, the preservation not only of the minorities, but also of those classes or communities or tribes have to be preserved, because they have their own history, their culture, and they have the right to preserve their own rights. They have to preserve their culture and also languages and their history. So I think these are the things under which we have to see Article 29 and 30. And no doubt, today the minority rights, I don't think anywhere in the world such a country of diversified culture is there, and nowhere in the world you will find such a coexistence. Maybe 2 or 3 aberrations, they are not major aberrations, and not a matter of concern, but we are still, our Indian Constitution protects everyone, every citizen of this country equally. So I think we have to see the Article 29 and Article 30 in the context of preserving one's language, culture, history, and it doesn't give extra rights, because the Constitution gives equal rights to everyone. So therefore, in that ambit of equal rights, Article 29 and 30 has to be read. I think these are the few issues which I would like to speak on this, and I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.